Bill Giwando and Delegate Barbe. And in that order, the question is, name one of President Obama's environmental policies that you agree with and one that you disagree with, and then please explain why in each case. So first, Senator Maskell.
Okay, so let's see. I support the new clean water rule coming out of the EPA, which is absolutely necessary because of an adverse decision by the egregious Roberts Supreme Court. And so this, the new EPA water rule will allow for the enforcement of clean water regulations with respect to thousands of streams and rivers and creeks upstream in the country, and I very much agree with that. I'm not quite sure where the president is right now on the Keystone Pipeline. Has he said? Because I'm opposed to that. I am totally opposed to the Keystone Pipeline, and I think it moves us exactly in the wrong direction. The reason why you've got opposition all across the country is because people understand it will be very disruptive environmentally and risky, but more importantly, it moves us in the wrong direction because we need to break the carbon habit, we need to liberate ourselves politically from the carbon barons, and we need to move into the climate energy future, which is going to be renewable energy. And I didn't get a chance to respond to one of your questions, Dave, but I wanted to say this. Congressman Van Hollen has introduced an excellent plan which is called cap and dividend, which I think gets it totally right. And cap and dividend basically says, who owns the sky? We own the sky. We will auction off permits to the first carbon polluters, the first carbon emitters. They've got to pay us. All of us will get a quarterly check, a dividend from the Treasury Department, and then we will reduce over time down to nothing.
Thank you for your thought.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Giwando.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're going to get me in trouble with my old boss now, saying what I don't like. But that's what you got to do when you run for Congress. I'll start with that first. I agree. I think he's still deciding on Keystone, but should he be for it, I'll be against it. And I think that's sends the wrong signal, even though it's relatively, it's not as big as some of these other pipelines that are going to happen anyway. I think it sends the wrong signal of where we need to go in the new clean energy economy. So I'm against that. As far as what I'm for, Lisa Jackson's a good friend. And I was so proud that she laid the groundwork so that in the fourth quarter here, what we're calling the Obama administration fourth quarter, and these executive actions, who's happy about those? I know I am. The tough new rules that he's put to cut carbon emission and really give teeth and authority to the EPA, I think has been tremendous. We need to support that. You have these Republicans and Tea Partiers in Congress who are trying to roll back regulatory authority. I often remind them it's a Republican who created the EPA. So I think we have to really, really stand behind that authority and assert that is a right use of executive branch power. And so those would be the two things I would say for and against.
Thank you. I agree with respect to the Keystone Pipeline. And I also agree with the vast majority of the President's environmental policies as well. But there's one part of his environmental strategy that is probably the most important thing, and it is routinely overlooked, and that is the tremendous increase in research and development in renewable energy and in environmental technologies that has taken place under this administration. By some measures, President Obama has spent more on research and development than the prior two administrations combined. This is important, people, for the following reason. If we can increase the efficiency of solar panels by 10%, or if we can increase the energy capacity of batteries by 30%, we will have a renewable economy, we will be able to store energy, and we will all be driving electric cars that are affordable. Now, I think that's important. And finally, I want to say something because this has to be said. All of us agree on all of these issues, probably. But we do not live in a world where everyone agrees with us. As a progressive liberal Democrat, I have had to oppose a Republican governor, and I've done so successfully in my first 90 days as chairman on fracking, on phosphorus pollution, and on runoff. We need a progressive liberal who knows how to win when the going is tough and when the votes are against you, and that's who I am.
It's definitely going to be challenging in a Republican Congress. No question about that. Okay, we're to the last question in this section.